Hi everybody, I'm Morgan.crosbie from Finch Chevrolet and you are watching Cars and Crosby. I've got Paul here with a Corvette. I only got one Corvette, but this Corvette's gonna make it count. I got enough on this to easily put out an episode as there's a new interior combination that we haven't seen yet and I'm excited to show you it. So without further ado, I'm gonna introduce you to Paul. He's been around for about 35 years and I'm excited to see if he has some interesting stuff to say. We've had a lot of new drivers come through the pipes lately and I'm excited to hear from all of them because I've never been fortunate to meet Paul yet. So we're excited to finally introduce you to him, and then also I'm going to be doing a follow-up on the Vossen rims. I'm going to be doing a half episode on that. I will be putting out a complete episode once I've done all my analysis. I just want to make sure that everything on these is perfect before I give it, the Cars and Crosby's stamp of approval. I don't know if that brings anything to the table, but I want to make sure that if I have my name on something, that it's something that I'm proud of, that I know is going to work. So bear with me, guys. I'm just wanting to get this out properly, but before we do that part of it, let's go meet Paul and see what is on this cool Corvette. I'm just with Paul, and we're just breaking the bread and talking, getting to know. Paul, what were you just saying about how you load up the Vettes compared to the older generations?
We were just discussing how you had gotten the body wrapping issue solved. The factory was not allowing us to back certain units on, and the Vettes were one of them. And the reason why is because the wind pressure was causing the things to rip, and then they proceed to mess up the paint pretty badly.
So, and this was on both levels or just the top level?
Both levels.
Wow.
Like I said, they wouldn't let you back one behind the cab. Now, there's no better windbreak than that, but they said, no, we still have too many issues. So your help in getting the aerodynamic structure, that set of blocks, made a whole lot of difference, made life a lot easier.
Yeah, I definitely have seen that. So we were just talking about transit and damage and stuff and that we haven't seen in a while. I wondered if I was lucky. What he's referencing is on the car covers, they put foam blocks on them now in this area, and that helps with making it so that the wind isn't taking the car cover, because on a couple of them I've seen on pictures on the internet, they actually physically tore off if they got caught on something, and so there was a lot of area in here that was flapping in the wind and creating a lot of stress on the paint. And so they put those foam blocks in there. You actually want to pass me this just so I can see it. Here they are right here. So these are the foam blocks that were on here, and that's just to help out with making it so that it doesn't flap around too much when it's on the back here. And like Paul was saying, now he can put them backwards on there, and that helps out a lot for loading it up easier, or what?
Yeah, because besides weight, we also have to balance it up between all the axles, so where you put the motor transmission sometimes says, hi, are you legally loaded or not?
Interesting. Oh, very cool.
So yeah, most people don't think about it. That's a positive pressure on the front, but that's a negative area there. It's a vacuum
because it's dipped down.
Just as powerful as a positive airflow.
Wow, and that's interesting. As a driver, there's a lot of physics that are involved with this in terms of making sure that your load and everything is on there properly. So if you guys are just wanting to see for a reference, Paul on the top level here, he has the first Vette facing the front, and then the third Vette in here, it's facing on the back. So is that what you're talking about? Right on. That's very cool. That's interesting. Well, see, there you learn something every day. Well, thanks a lot for that, Paul. All right, guys, I'm just on the lot. I don't normally get to go into this area. This is normally all filled with trucks, and I've got none. I've got 6 on the lot right now. They're all sold, and every full-size SUV, pickup truck, all that kind of stuff, they're all being tagged on their way into the dealership, or they're tagged before they're even built. It's kind of weird to think now that if you're wanting to get a truck, normally I'd have about 150 of these unsold on this row alone, and then another reserve lot. And I've got nothing right now. And it's like a Corvette where you're going to go in, you're going to order it with me the way you like it, and then in 2 months it'll come in. And that to me is just really interesting how fast the car buying experience has changed. And in my opinion, for the better. It means that you can get exactly what you want. You wait a couple of months and then you get exactly what you want. In terms of doing a deal, it's been a lot more wholesome as well. We're both in this together, just like we are on the Corvettes, getting a cool build together and then waiting for it to come in. And speaking of Corvettes, let me introduce you to the latest addition to Cars and Crosby. This is a 3LT Coupe Z51 in Elkhart Lake Blue with the color combination override Morello red interior. Now, we've done a lot of cool things to this one. I'm very excited to show it off. We've got the Spectre Gray Trident Spoke rims on here. On the Z51 spoiler, we've done it in black. That's our secondary color. And you'll notice that'll go with the black accents. It's got a transparent top, and then we also have the black mirrors and the black badging. Now, because it has a transparent top, I really wanted to use black as a secondary color because it helps making it so that the top is not the only thing that's black and standing out on this beautiful high flake metallic color. If you guys are watching the Red Mist Metallic episode, you'll learn that I talked about how there's actually flakes of metal. That is a metal aluminum flake in there that's making that paint shine so bright. Now on the accents, we also have a tertiary color, and that's to help bring the outside to the inside. We have the edge red calipers on here. We've also got the red from the Twin Flags logo on the front, and then we also have the red tail lights, and we also have the edge red engine cover, which will be going on very shortly once we get into the shop. So that's bringing the outside onto the inside, because we have a beautiful Morello red interior. This is the first time we've had this on the channel, and we're 3 for 3 for having unique interiors that you can't override. And what I mean by that is you cannot get this insert done in a two-tone. You can't change these to being suede or solid. It comes in one combination, and that's it. So on here you'll have some familiars. This is your adrenaline red stitching, which you'll see on the steering wheel and everywhere else with this stitching. Because it's a 3LT, you have your GT2 seats, which is done in a full grain Napa leather, and it's perforated. You'll then also notice that on the dash there is a beautiful accent of suede done on some of these up here. You'll notice that this is all done in suede, and just look at this. To think that you've got a suede embossed Corvette logo there, you've got then suede that goes through here within a wrapped leather on top. That is just quite an interior. I'm very impressed with the quality and fit and finish of this, and that to me is, I know I've gone on about it a dozen times in all these videos about how great the interior is, but like it's unbelievable to think that this is a hand wrapped interior. I don't know if you guys follow along with what Cadillac talks about, but Cadillac is really big into something called cut and sew. That's a philosophy that they have, and this is all hand wrapped. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this all here, all the suede and the stitching and that's all hand done. And to think that, you know, you're in a vehicle that has a hand wrapped interior, that's something special. A lot of people work towards having a cool accomplishment, and to know that you've got you know, a bespoke vehicle that you made, you had a color combination override, and it was in a hand wrapped interior, you know, it's just a really amazing thing to think that this is a Chev, and it has that quality of fit and finish that anybody, if they work hard, can get and attain. So congratulations to this owner. This is a very unique model, and I'm always a fan of helping people out and making a unique model. I think that that's a really amazing thing, and it's one thing that I'm really, you know, happy to embrace with this new vehicle, is that I'm getting to meet a lot of people that I've never met before, and the combinations that they've been coming up with are just, they're so wholesome. I'm so excited to see this customer's face and to see what future combinations that people come up with. If you guys are ever looking at getting an idea on a combination, keep in mind, when, you know, before this came about, I was having to come up with designs that I thought would look good, because it was like on the old concept where, you know, all the trucks are in a row here, 150 of them, and we're waiting for someone to buy it. I had the same story with on the C7s. Back in the day, I was designing these things before I'd even met the owner. And so I'm a huge fan of trying to come up with combinations that go with specific colors. And so if you guys ever see a combination that you want to run through with me, you know, don't hesitate. I love to hear what you guys have come up with. And this interior for sure is going to make it so that he is not, you know, going to have anybody else drive in with the same kind of combination, because he has a color combination override. And that's the second part of what we're going to talk about with this. The Elkhart Lake Blue and the Morello Red are not something that you can get from the factory unless you pay to have it overridden. The Morello Red interior comes with Arctic White, Silver Flare, Black, ceramic matrix gray, which is my color. Those are the combinations that GM allows you to do, and you have to pay to override that if you try to do it in Accelerate Yellow, Elkhart Lake Blue, Torch Red. Red Mist Metallic, you can do it though, actually. That's going to be a cool combination. I'm excited to see that one as well. Zeus Bronze, you couldn't do it in, and those are some of the colors that you can do it, but General Motors is not going to let you do it without having to pay a premium to do it. So excited to see where we go with this one. I still have to get it all shined up, and keep in mind it will be here for a while. We're going to move on to my Corvette, where I've had these rims on now for about 6 hours of driving time, and I got a couple things that I want to share with you. I'm not completely done with my full experience yet, so have no fear. There will be a full episode. This is just kind of a little bit of a closure on this, because I'm just keeping you informed, because I remember in my last episode I did say in a couple days I'd have the next video. Well, this is part of it, just to keep you until the full one's out. Ride wise, I'm not concerned in any way. You know, I did notice that on decelerations without any throttle input, that I am noticing it is a little bit faster in deceleration and acceleration, and that has to do with the unsprung mass of these big 21 inches of rims. Your weight on the old ones were about 28 pounds, and then on these ones it's about 33 pounds. I called down to Vossen and asked them. So there's a lot more weight that's on the wheel, and that's going to make it so that the rotational inertia is stressing out the powertrain a little bit more. Not massive amount, but if you have 4 pounds of weight or 5 pounds of weight in the wheels which rotate, it's equivalent to a lot more weight if it was in the payload area of it. So that's something to just note in terms of drivability. In terms of ride, I've been trying to increase the limitations of what I'm willing to do with it. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing any street speed stuff and taking it off of jumps and whatnot, but potholes, I would say, is the biggest thing that I'm kind of working my way up with. You know, doing lazy policeman and making sure that it can go over the speed bumps and everything like that. That's another thing that I've been doing. And I do want to point out one thing that I've noticed, and that has to do with when the steering input is at about 20 to 30%. I am noticing that it is scuffing the splash guard in here. Now this is the OEM splash guard because I am going to be putting on a rocker panel extension eventually, but I don't know if you guys can see that, but in there is a little bit of scuffing that's happening, and I am going to be modifying my splash guards to make sure that it doesn't happen. It's not a significant amount. It's not damaging the tire. I made sure I've been keeping an eye on it. It probably looks a lot worse than it is, but in terms of a noise, you at a steering input of about 20%, I do notice it scuffs a little bit, but it's only when there's a load on the front end. So what that means is if you're decelerating the car and the weight is in the front of it, you're going to dip down the nose a bit. And that's what's happening, I think, when I'm braking and then turning into a commercial property or something on a busy street. You kind of braking quickly and then turning in, and that weight is in the front, which is dipping down. Fortunately, I have the front lift, but that doesn't mean that everyone that does this is going to have that issue. So we're working on that one. I think that the easiest solution is going to be to just shave off a little bit of that splash guard because it's just barely scraping it. There's no noticeable damage on the tire whatsoever. So that's important, especially because it's on the front wheel, which is a steering wheel. So that's important to note. But other than that, ride-wise, I'm happy with it. You know, very minute difference in terms of acceleration, deceleration, just because of the amount of mass that you're increasing on both axles with the extra weight. I'm happy aesthetically with it. I think that this is a very good look. It really does a great job at filling in the gaps a lot more on it, and I'm just overall ecstatic with how Vossen is done with this whole performance thing. They're ahead of schedule in getting me these rims. The tires are a different story. They're a lot harder to get right now. I hope if anyone is out there trying to find them that they can successfully get some, because it is a struggle and not everybody has a beautiful network of people to reach out to like I'm talking to you guys right now. So if you haven't done it already, hit that like button if you did like this video. If you have a color combination that you want to see me look into or suggesting, or you just want to run some ideas from it, make a comment in the section below, as I'm going to be eager to see what you guys come up with. And if you haven't already done it, hit that bell notification so that the next time I make a video you get notified. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and happy motoring.